Let's podcast. Alongside Joe Giglio, I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, get everything you need to the cloud. The one thing they can't do is clock management for your football team.
One thing they can do is save the LLC. That 10-year-old Bud Light almost dissolved OG Media LLC.
How so?
As we know it.
How so?
If you were directly responsible for me losing all of my Rams tickets, then that would be the end of us. That would have been it.
So now you're just going to wait for the Bears to do it.
No. But you didn't jinx me though.
I didn't.
You're not jinxing me now. You jinxed me though with this Bud Light, 10-year Bud Light. I was legitimately sweating in that press box on Saturday night at the Lenovo Center. I was like, that motherfucker. So honestly, why did he do this to me?
I guess that
the power of that Bud Light. Who the hell knew?
I guess
who knew?
This answers the first OG Sports phone call that we got.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
This call we got from a 910.
Evening, gentlemen. I guess my question coming out of that game is going to be, Mr. Giglio, were you sweating at all? That would be my question. Did you sweat in that fourth quarter? Thank you, guys.
Of course I did.
You were apparently.
Of course, and that's what they call it when you have a big bet. They call it a sweat.
Okay,
you got to sweat. That was quite a sweat.
I'm only familiar with sweat in the terms of kids playing video games too much. Or they're trying too hard at Fortnite. They're a sweat.
It's a little bit different.
It's a little bit different.
What a performance by the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
All of my gambling shenanigans aside, I thought that was up until, I mean, listen, the person who caught the touchdown is what? The Rams' sixth best player.
Yeah.
That was an amazing catch.
It's a hell of a throw.
Amazing catch, an amazing throw. This goes back to why the ticket was placed to begin with. The Rams are the best team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
They have the most options. They have the best play caller. They have what is right now the best quarterback in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You put all that together, and the Panthers during the regular season were good enough to answer all of the Rams' punches during the regular season. In the playoffs, Matt Stafford made two fewer mistakes, and made one more play there at the end to give them that win. But the Panthers absolutely poured it out after a slow start, an unbelievable performance by the coaches, the defense, the special teams, the offense, you name it, A to Z, soup to nuts, no notes. Unbelievable performance by the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, it's interesting. The wild card weekend produces really two overall takes. Hey, we're going to get a new Super Bowl champion this year. No Eagles.
Thank you.
No Eagles.
Thank God.
No Chiefs. We're getting a new Super Bowl champ this year. All right, cool. We can talk about that in the lightning round for NFL takes, because there's one NFL team that understands there's a new Super Bowl champion waiting. And it better be us or ... I'll save that for the NFL lightning round takes. The other one was outside of last night's game between the Patriots and the Chargers. These were high-level competitive games that came down to coaching decisions and quarterback play. I don't know how much more, how plain I can put it. Quarterback decisions and quarterback play. And I bring this up because Bryce Young put himself in a position like all the other quarterbacks that made big plays down the stretch, or didn't. Bryce did, though. It just so happened that Bryce Young, in his 3 seasons at quarterback for the Carolina Panthers and his game-winning drive stat, it's great, but it's not at the level or consistency that Matthew Stafford has found himself in. I think he's up to 53 or 54 game-winning drives or something like that over the course of his career. Something crazy like that. And you saw a guy in Matt Stafford who's clearly still in that mode of trying to win that next Super Bowl. Totally get that. Whereas with Bryce Young, you're finally starting to see, after 3 seasons, what he is capable of after a slow start and where we are at the end of the season. And I guess my overall takeaway for the Panthers and their loss in the wild card round was Dave Canales and Bryce Young, from the start of the year to where we are now, won a lot of people over, including me. Skeptical at the beginning of the season, and I have every right to be skeptical at the beginning of the season. Is Dave Canales in over his head when it comes to play calling? I know there are some people out there that are still convinced that he has to give up the play calling duties. That's something that we've talked about with Mike K from the Charlotte Observer a bunch. And also there's been some discussions as to, all right, well, what is Bryce Young? Well, I see Bryce Young, and you have to take a step back from time to time. And you see Justin Herbert on the other side with the Chargers. And ever since Justin Herbert got to the league, it's been this, well, he is the prototype. This guy has every measurable you would want. He looks the part. He is this wonderkin. Look at all these tangible things. He's going to be the next best things. When you go online, the tape eaters love some Justin freaking Herbert, man. Love that dude. But when you take a step back and you look at his overall production, it's like Spider-Man pointing meme between him and Bryce Young. And you also look at what he's done in the playoffs, no show.
As Juwan Jennings has as many touchdown passes in the postseason as he does.
Just no show.
That's a receiver for the 49ers.
Who had a hell of a play yesterday to Christian McCaffrey. So the way we talk about these guys is funny. It's like we are convinced, hey, Justin Herbert's the dude. I see the results, not so clear. And I see what Bryce Young's been able to do with not as good of a team, not as good of a coach theoretically in Jim Harbaugh versus Dave Canales. And he's found ways to produce. And he found a way to produce there in the wild card game. And now it becomes all right, like we discussed last week with Mike K, pick up that 5th-year option because it's a bargain. You know you've got him for the next 2 years, and you can utilize the money that you're saving to get better. Because that's the other thing about the Panthers in this year and the whole ahead of schedule aspect of it is that this isn't a finished product. They have some decisions to make. They can get better at certain positions. So go out there and do it, build off this, and we'll see what goes on next year. But as I rambled and put these thoughts together, I think my overall takeaway from Saturday's loss is, it sucks because they blew an opportunity to move on. Doesn't suck for Giglio because he gets to save his ticket. But to me, there's a real easy way to look at what they had, the lead that they had, the drive that they put together to take the lead, and the way they played defense at the end. You can get really, really football-y, but they were playing soft coverage because they didn't want the receivers to beat them. Instead, what ended up happening was Matt Stafford took advantage of the middle with J.C. Horn out because of a concussion, and they carved him up down the middle with the soft coverage, number one. And then at the end, you just put him in a position to make the hell of a throw with a hell of a catch in the end zone, and that's your ball game. That's disappointing. You could easily look at that and go, man, you blew it. But take a step back and you go, it was still an 8-9 year. You backed yourself into the playoffs with an NFC South title, and you still acquitted yourself really nicely in how you played in that game with an opportunity to win. You can't be so mad, so disappointed without just thinking to yourself, hey, man, you won a lot of people over. Let's see what you can do next year.
Listen, we're making this about me right now, and that's fine.
I mean, that's what podcasting is about.
I understand football.
White dudes in front of mics making it about themselves.
No matter what all of these coaches think, I understand football and I understand basketball.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, and I tell you this for a reason. I watched earlier in the year, I watched the Rams, and I said, you know what they did? They got Puka Nacua. That's awesome. They got all these tight ends who you never heard of.
Hey, real quick, Puka Nacua made the play of the game in a ball that he did not catch.
Yeah.
That was crucial because that might be your ball game right there without a broken up pass.
Yeah.
Anyway,
to me, when I watch football, I go, okay, what teams? You got to have a quarterback. You got to have a play caller. You got to have an offensive line. These are all basic things, right? They got plenty of tight ends. The way that they use their tight ends. Kyron Williams, we remember him from Notre Dame. Nice player. When I saw that they went out and signed Devontae Adams, this is even before he led the NFL in touchdown catches this year, I said, that's exactly the player who the Bills should have gone if they really wanted to win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. That's the player who Sean Payton should have went and signed if he really wanted to win the Super Bowl. That's the player, ... Fill it in across the board.
Sure.
Okay. The 49ers could have used him. All of these teams, the Packers absolutely could have used him back. All of these teams who don't make moves to help their play caller and their quarterback, to your point about what we learned about the Carolina Panthers this year, I would tell you this. I believe the Rams were the only team that could have beaten the Carolina Panthers on Saturday in that exact situation. I believe they were the only offense that could have gone down the field and beaten them the way that they did, because the Panthers kept responding in this football game. And that's really the remarkable part of it.
Oh, it was 14-0. People were making plans.
17-7, and I'm going, this game's over.
Yeah.
DJ Wanham makes the play of the season. Of course, it ends up being in a loss. That fourth down play, if Wanham doesn't break that up, Rams score. This game's a blowout. We're having a completely different conversation about the Carolina Panthers right now if they don't rally the way that they do at the end of the second half and really outplay the Rams in the second half of this football game the way that they did. Okay? So I think if you're the Carolina Panthers, there's two things. You come out of this going, okay, we're right there. But the second thing you got to remember is next year doesn't start where this year ends.
Nope.
So that's the important part. All of the things that you did to get here, that all starts all over again next year. And you said back into the playoffs. I get it, because they had a losing record. Truth of the matter is they had it was the number one tiebreak.
Well,
the number one tiebreak was what's your group record against the teams you tied against. They had a better record in the group.
When I say that, it is being honest about the opportunities that were in front of the Panthers to make things easy. It's when I watch the Panthers this year, it's almost like I feel like I'm talking to my 17-year-old, or like how you're talking to your soon-to-be 18-year-old sometimes when it comes to school. It's like, you could do this the easy way, or you could make life difficult for yourself and put yourself in a position where things are kind of out of your control. And the Panthers had opportunities this year to put this thing in their control. That's why I get back to the Saints game. Like, getting swept by the Saints was a bigger indictment of them down the stretch than it was losing to Seattle or losing to the Buccaneers on the road in a slog of a game to end the season, leaving it open for the Falcons and the Saints to kind of produce what it did. That's what I'm getting at, is that you could have made it easier on yourself to make this thing definitive. You didn't. Now, all that being said, once you get there, it doesn't matter. That's all stuff that we leave in the off season, or we leave in the regular season. And if I'm looking at it singularly on Saturday, I'm looking at a team that hung with a Super Bowl contender, and you leave that game thinking, hey man, gets back to what I said from the jump. You go, I had some questions about Bryce throughout the season. Like, let's not memory hole how we talked about this team at the beginning of the year.
Sure. Let's
not memory hole how we thought the year was going to go, where maybe they win 5 games, 6 games. And we're sitting here talking about, what do we do about the coach? What do you do about the quarterback, right? Let's not forget what the season started out like. So they improved. And that's all you can ask out of your quarterback and your coach. Will you improve as the season goes on? And there was clear improvement as the season went on. Clear improvement when you got guys healthy on the field too. That also matters as well. Like, the Carolina Hurricanes would like to remind you what, Joe? When Jacob Slavin's in the lineup, what are they like now?
5-0-1.
When Jacob Slavin's in the lineup, what's that penalty kill look like?
A little bit different.
Right? So, like, Derek Brown on the field kind of impacts how this team looks defensively, right? So all these things all that stuff is in the regular season. My point is, they got better as the season went on.
We got better tonight.
And when it came to the moment at home against a true Super Bowl contender in the Rams, you almost pulled that thing off, and you just got to tip your cap to a dude who's been doing it in Matt Stafford on a team that is built to do it, but you almost had him. You leave that game going, damn, hey man, I like the direction. I'm now seeing what people see in Bryce Young. I can see Dave Canales growing into the job when a lot of coaches don't have an opportunity to grow into the job. That's something that the Panthers definitely need to happen. Some continuity in that regard. Same with Dan Morgan as the general manager and what their vision is going to be. So you see it. And I think with the disappointment of the loss, you come away happy with what you saw at the end of the year. So even if you found yourself in a weird tiebreaker situation to win the NFC, that's like Duke fans. I don't care how they got to the ACC championship. They won it. It's fine. But it's okay to point out that they got there by some wonky math. It's fine.
They made tremendous progress this year, and they should be pleased with that. They answered a lot of questions this year. Again, there was a lot to like about the way that they played on Saturday. There was a lot to love about the atmosphere and reestablishing their corners and retaking that stadium. It was theirs. It wasn't the opposing teams. Just as we saw in 2019 in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, when the Hurricanes came home, there was an unbelievable release for a fan base that had gone through 10 years in the wilderness. So they had that moment, but ultimately when you look at this, you sit there and sometimes you just have to tip your hat. Colby Parkinson. Like I did not have on my bingo card.
Not on there.
Colby Parkinson. But the only thing my only notes for Dave Canales would be, and they're getting closer to this, so I'll give them credit. They're getting closer to this. You have to die with your fastball.
Yeah.
Okay. Puka Nacua, when this game started exactly how I thought it would start. Matthew Stafford hearing about, oh, you suck outside. You made a lot of mistakes in that first game. This game started with them going, here's Puka Nacua, here's my fastball. Can you handle it? You can't hit it. Okay. Look at the end numbers in this game. Last drive, yes, Parkinson makes the game-winning catch on really what was a throwaway if you go back and look at that play a little bit. The last drive, who gets the ball? Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. Okay. Puka Nacua, 18 targets in this game. Devontae Adams, 13 targets. The rest of the team combined had 11 targets. All right. Money's on the table. They knew where the ball was going. My only complaint about the Panthers on that last drive, I ain't letting Jimmy Horn Jr. decide my season.
Yeah.
I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I got a little secret for you. The guy over here who's not on the wall anymore, his little secret that he learned from Bill Parcells, when the money is on the table, your best players have to get the ball. Everybody on the planet knew Gronk was getting the ball on fourth down. Everybody on the planet knew on the goal line it was going to Edelman. Everybody. And you still make a play because that's how the game works. You die with your fastball. Coker in this game, unbelievable.
Unreal. Game.
Unbelievable for an undrafted free agent to make the plays that he did. And much like the Seattle Seahawks learned, sometimes you got to go with the cheaper guy. You went and you spent a premium asset on Xavier Leggett. Well, I got bad news for you, Xavier Leggett. You ain't on my team anymore.
No, that's not going to work.
Okay. You can't drop the ball. I can't trust you. No time for that.
No.
That's all. My only notes for them. That last drive needed to be McMillan and Coker, and that's it. That's it.
I think they were a little shook. Honestly, I think they were shook about how the game ended, and they had to go back there on the field with 38 seconds to go. So that's kind of where it was at. All right, to the rest of the NFL with some quick takes. Where do you want to start?
Oh, I got taste. So you just tell me which game you won. I can spit some hot fire.
All right, let's since we're in a Cam Newton kind of mood, right? Cam was back. He sounded the drum. Everybody was like enjoying the vibes. And we've been talking a lot about 2015, 2016 and the MVP season that he had, where sometimes like, look, man, Cam's your best player. You talk about your best player, go to your fastball. Well, Cam was the fastball all season long. And I'm kind of getting the sense the same thing with the Bills and Josh Allen. And I'm sure Sean McDermott has some thoughts on this going, all right, you know what? Let's stop fucking around. Josh, I don't care about your longevity. Let's fucking go. We got no Patrick Mahomes. We got no Lamar Jackson. This thing is wide open for us. And we are not about to lose this freaking game. We are not about to lose this game against the Jaguars. Go do the thing. That's exactly what they did with Josh Allen.
It truly is an homage right down to all of their ragtag receivers.
Yes.
Shakira, Brandon Cooks on his 70th team, the failed first round pick that is Keon Coleman. It's just like, oh my God. I mean, if anyone understands what the white Cam Newton's going through, it's Josh Allen and Cam. I mean, the two of them just need to get together and have an avocado smoothie or something. Because my Lord, Josh Allen multiple times in this game checked for concussion, checked for a knee, checked for kidney failure. I mean, the Jaguars beat the absolute shit out of him. And speaking of games that I watched this year, I watched the first game. Said to myself, you know me. I love to listen to the broadcasters because they talk to the coaches. Very first game of this year.
Yeah.
Very first game, primetime game, Bills, Ravens.
Yeah.
Sean McDermott or Joe Brady in their infinite wisdom tell the Sunday night crew, hey, man, this is the year we don't run Josh that much.
Bullshit.
We're going to have Josh as a passer this year. We're going to preserve him. And he's going to, hey, this is what we're going to do this year. Sir,
No,
in
not here.
case of emergency.
No.
And you know what the emergency was? Oh, hey, we trailed the Patriots by 3 games in the division. So he's been getting the crap kicked out of him for like 10 weeks now.
That's what you got to do.
I mean,
That's what you got to do.
His piss stream has to be filled with blood.
Well, because it's interesting. One of the things that I jotted down about this wild card weekend, and the Bills are included in this if they lose this game to the Jags. When is the right time to fire a playoff coach? Right? Like there is an ongoing discussion about some of the results.
I could make a case you could fire Sean McDermott after yesterday.
It's like, so I'm looking at you, Sean McDermott. I'm looking at Mike Tomlin tonight, potentially against the Houston Texans. I'm looking at, well, in Nick Sirianni's case, you won the Super Bowl last year. How much longer do you have? We can't go. They have to speed run the Doug Peterson end with Nick Sirianni, which we'll talk about later. And of course, you've got Matt LaFleur and yet another blown lead with the Packers. So, when is the right time to move on from a playoff coach? And Sean McDermott was on that list in this game. And I think he understood it too. Like, shit. All right. Enough of this longevity crap. It's time to go Cam Newton. And that's what they did. And look, people complain about the tush push all the time. If it was that much of an advantage, everybody would do it. Well, clearly the Bills went, well, screw it, man. We got to win this game. So how many times did they do the tush push?
They had a 9-yard tush push.
Well, they had the 9-yard one
play of this game,
but that was not the first time they had to break it out. They did it. I think they did it 3 times before that, and then they tush pushed in that critical situation, and they got 9 yards out of it.
Sean McDermott has learned nothing from losing a football game to Tyreek Hill in whatever year that was, where they had 13 seconds left. I never would have let him coach another football game after that.
Are you talking about taking the knee?
I am talking about at the end of this game, after that tush push gets them down to the half-inch yard line. You need to, and they have no timeouts. The other team has used all of their timeouts.
Yeah.
And you have 3?
Yeah.
I get it. You still need the touchdown to win. I understand that.
But take some time.
But
yeah,
at least on first down, you have to take a knee.
Yeah.
On first down, because you have to shorten the game. You've already learned that it only takes another team 13 seconds to beat you.
Yeah, but is Trevor Lawrence Patrick Mahomes?
Well, I would argue it really wasn't Patrick Mahomes. It was Tyreek Hill.
That's true. If only.
to continue a podcast-long argument. I thought Trevor Lawrence came up small in this game.
Okay.
And you know who else did? The super kicker. The super kicker miss at the end of the first half, which was a gift, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That was the definition of ball don't lie. They never should have been given that extra second at the end of the first half. And then Little missed for him a chip shot. I think it was like 52 yards.
Some of that, yeah.
Look what happened. It's a 3-point game. But given all the circumstances, Sean McDermott absolutely played that the wrong way. It ended up working out for him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a reminder that the Bills are a cursed franchise. They are a cursed franchise. There's just no other way to put it.
Cursed how?
The Bills are never going to win the Super Bowl.
I mean,
even what's his name who had this game was like, there's no Mahomes, there's no Lamar Jackson, there's no Joe Burrow.
I've been saying
Jim
that.
Nance.
Yeah, Jim Nance.
And I'm like, yeah, man.
I've been saying
just
that.
watch. You're just setting yourself up for them to have their hearts broken again.
Well, that's why I put it back on the how much leeway do you give a playoff coach? Because with McDermott, there's the context here of you've had multiple cracks at it with this otherworldly talent in Josh Allen. What are you going to do with it? And there were a couple plays away from losing the whole thing. And maybe he's not out of the woods, depending on what we just laid out, what I've been saying. There's nothing in your path. Like, for instance, the Patriots over the Chargers, right? You're telling me the Patriots, and I'm actually getting to the point with the Patriots where speaking of Cam Newton, maybe Cam Newton is onto something about the Patriots and their schedule and who exactly they've beaten and getting in over the Chargers, who continuously fall over themselves in these situations. And the playoff draw for them also is beneficial. Now, they earned that with the way they completed their season and getting in over getting over the Bills and all that in terms of like home field advantage and everything else like that. But yes, I do look at that with the Patriots. Are you sitting here telling me that you're going to get got by the Patriots, that they're going to take this opportunity without Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow, and young Drake May is out here going to do this thing? So yes, Sean McDermott is very much on the hot seat when it comes to this.
Their skill players, the Patriots skill players, make me want to now give the MVP to Drake May. I don't know who the hell he's playing.
So, buying or selling the Patriots after this with the Chargers?
I think they've fulfilled their prophecy. They were a team that was going to win their first playoff game. I believe the Texans will beat the Steelers tonight, and I believe the Texans will beat the Patriots.
Okay. And the Patriots actually have to take on a legitimate defense?
They do.
Okay. Got it. All right, moving on. Eagles. We no longer have to watch that, which is probably a good thing.
Thank God.
I will be spending some time listening to the other Joe Giglio today on WIP because I got to imagine.
I hope he has the same venom for the Eagles as he does for the Phillies and my guy Trey Turner, because what a shit show. What an absolute all around shit show, Joe. All around. I'm talking from the coach. I'm talking from the alleged star receiver.
Yeah.
I'm talking from the play caller, who was allegedly Sirianni's buddy.
It was buddy,
and that's why he's the play caller.
Uh-huh.
And I'm talking about the fans too.
What about the fans?
Go Birds. Go Birds. Like, you've suffered through fucking something, okay? You've won 2 Super Bowls now in 7 years.
Well,
and all you do is you run Doug Peterson out of town, and now you're ready to run this guy out of town. They were actively booing the team, the quarterback, the coach throughout this game.
Yeah, because they've been a hot mess all year.
Hey, guys, there's such a thing as afterglow, okay? You finally got your dick wet, all right? Maybe just enjoy it for a half of a fucking second. Maybe. Instead, but you want some cute, sweet fucking story about Go Birds at the Wawas. How about this? Go fuck off. Okay? I'm glad you're gone. And I hope you never win it again. And I hope I never have to hear from you again. Well, we deserve it. Well, we've been suffering all Ron Jaworski, and we had to sit through booing Santa Claus. It's like, you're terrible people. You're terrible fans. Okay?
I feel like this is an affront to my my married side of the family. I don't know why you're choosing violence here.
I hope they take it personally. I hope they do.
Now, did my father-in-law call these guys a bunch of bums last night?
Oh, clearly.
Yes.
That was preloaded.
Was AJ Brown Pup-Up's bum of the week? Yeah.
Well, he's the bum of the century.
Yeah.
Because, buddy,
actually, I think
you got to catch the ball.
Actually, Nick Sirianni might be the bum of the week or the bum of the century. All right. So, okay.
Not for going after AJ Brown. That was like the only good thing he did yesterday.
Okay. Now I feel like I have a lot to unpack here. Like, first and foremost, when the Eagles won in 17-18, that was their first Super Bowl.
Feel good story. Nick Foles, the big Nick Magic,
big Nick energy.
Tom Brady.
They had the whole dog thing.
They suffered forever.
Yes, you had a Kelsey brother.
They had to spend the entire 80s literally watching the rest of their division win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All of their rivals win. Yeah, I was happy for them in 17.
Yeah.
Until they ran Doug Peterson out of town. Like, what have you ever done?
I mean, Kelsey showed up like a mummer at the parade. Like, how could you not love that, for heaven's sake?
The first one, yes.
Okay.
I was happy with the first one.
And you say you ran Doug Peterson out of there. No.
They did.
He eventually got fired in the 2021 season, but you got to remember the context as to why they got rid of him. He didn't want
Jalen Hurts.
He didn't want Jalen Hurts.
Oh, that's weird. I don't think anyone of the Eagles wants Jalen Hurts, right?
Except that they won a fucking Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
they broke the league with the tush push.
When he runs, there was no running by Jalen Hurts. You want to talk about someone you should be mad at?
There was a little bit of a problem there.
No Cam Newton protocols.
But hold up. A little bit of context with Doug Peterson getting run out, because this happens.
He did not get that many years.
Yes, he did. He eventually got fired in the 2021 season. That's when he got fired. People are misremembering when he got let go. The reason why he got let go was because they had a decision to make. Do we want the coach or do we want the quarterback?
Right.
And they believed in the quarterback. And we say this all the time. It is easier to get rid of the coach than it is the quarterback. I mean, hell, we probably saw this happen with John Harbaugh.
He got fired in 2020, at the end of 2020.
At the end of the 2020 season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They one game left. They fired him.
Yeah, he got fired in January 21.
Yeah, but he won the Super Bowl. Then he won
17-18.
Yeah, and then he went to the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and
won the division. And then they fired. He had one bad year and they fired him.
But the reason why they fired him wasn't because of the one bad season.
You're the Eagles, man.
It's because they wanted
that you finally won the Super Bowl.
It's because
and the guy got you in the playoffs every year.
Because you couldn't go back to the big Nick energy to win another Super Bowl.
Of course, they fired Andy Reid too. So
well, there is that
they
too.
get what they deserve,
and it worked out for Andy Reid in the end.
And
it worked out for the Eagles. Because they've won 2 Super Bowls, okay?
But don't tell them that.
I mean, but that's
didn't really work out.
I think what's going on here is that Philly
should win every year.
Philly is actually the Northeast sports town that actually is about that life. Unlike New York, which is soft as hell. Because that's why I joked about WIP. Because today they're on fire. I'm sure they were on fire last night on WIP.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they took our idea and did a post-game show.
Right. Nobody ever thought
Maybe
about
took calls too.
They took calls during the post-game show. So no, Philly fans are actually the ones who are fulfilling the tough Northeastern town sports fan mentality and not this soft crap that I see in New York all the time. So I actually give Eagles fans a little bit of credit. The standard is the standard, Joe. And the standard is Philly. Win it or you're a bum. It's that simple. Win it or you're a bum. The Saquon cutouts
actively booing the team in the middle of the play, like on the drive. They're trying to win the game. They're like, boo, boo.
The Saquon cutouts at the Wawa. They're all getting tossed in the trash. Okay,
with dog shit, horse shit, not dog shit, horse shit.
No, the horse shit was Xavier Legette showing up on a horse.
Did he really? That wasn't AI.
I don't think that was AI.
Oh, God.
There's been a lot of. Is that AI? All right. Anyway, I was not expecting slander to my Eagles family.
Well, they could take it and like it if they're as tough as you claim they are.
Well, they are. They'll basically tell you, fuck you too.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Like, Giglio probably has his cheesesteak with Swiss. What a weirdo.
Swiss. No.
So that's why you'd be a weirdo.
No.
Provolone or cheese whiz?
Honestly, I do enjoy provolone.
I prefer provolone as well. I feel like the cheese whiz overpowers everything else.
Honestly.
Give me an Italian long hot. I'm with that too. And no, I'm not talking about Giglio. Packers versus Bears. Ben Johnson.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I didn't really care about this game. This was after the Panthers game.
This was a Gordon Miller special.
And Gordon was so fired up about it. But the only thing I cared about was the post game. That was literally the only thing I cared about.
The reason why I called the Gordon Miller special is because for 3 quarters, I did not communicate with Gordon, but I bet you for 3 quarters, as the Bears were overthinking it, he's going, see, regardless of what happened with the Lions, I'm glad you're no longer with the Lions because you overthink this crap. And then the Bears did what they've been doing all year long, and they have the 4th quarter magic, and they get over on the Packers, and that, of course, puts Matt LaFleur in the position that he's in. I know Adam Schefter had put out earlier today that the Packers and LaFleur are working something out to like keep him there, but I guess there's going to be some changes, just like with Philly. To go back to that for like a real quick before we move on. I joked about speed running the Doug Peterson thing, where the front office of the Eagles has ideas, and they're probably going to Nick Sirianni and saying, "Hey, you look at all these dynamic play callers that are now on the market, like Mike McDaniel or Kevin Stefanski. Hire him." Hire one of those guys, or it's your job. That's probably what's going to happen with Nick Sirianni. But that being said, the Packers and the Bears, you didn't pay too much attention to this one. This one was, I'll agree, this one was kind of on in the background for me, and I thought that the Bears were getting run out, but I forgot that the Bears have done this all season long with the improbable win probabilities coming to fruition.
Now, fan bases I am actually happy for. Chicago.
Okay.
They have not been very good. They went to the Super Bowl once. Since 85, right? They had the 1 year where they lost to Peyton Manning in the rain down in Miami. So I am happy for the Bears fan base. But the truth of the matter is the Packers are a shell of the team that they were supposed to be.
Yes.
Everybody knows Micah Parsons is out with an ACL, but their actual best skill player, Tucker Kraft, got hurt in the 8th game of the season. They were not the same team on offense. Without Kraft, they needed Kraft. This is what I'm talking about. When you have multiple skill players, you become very difficult to defend. And the Rams are the ones with the best skill players right now.
Yeah.
The Packers had a deficiency. So of all the teams facing a decision about moving on from a coach or firing a coach, I would not fire LaFleur. I would give him a chance next year with the full deck of cards to see what they could do.
All right. Last item. I'm a big fan of Aaron Andrews. She's had a hell of a career. Not quite sure what the big fur coat was.
Oh, you're crazy. Yeah, I'm talking that is balls.
How much do you think that cost?
Probably a lot. I wish we had it in the OG media budget, to be perfectly honest.
Like, could Roback do something similar with a logo on it? Like,
talk about confidence, baby.
I got the little logo here on our Roback hoodie here. Like, could we put the little Post-it note on a fur coat like this?
That thing's amazing.
But as a lot of people pointed out, she was out here looking like, did you kill the Limu Emu and make
Cruella DeVille is
Cruella DeVille that was another comp.
It's the gloves too. She got those OJ murdering gloves on.
I mean,
Like,
she was out here killing in the outfit.
don't get me
man.
started on Aaron.
Of course, for whatever reason, I guess you decided to
Don't
put this
get me
out there
going.
like, yo, what's up, Aaron? What's that thing? And some of our listeners decided to Photoshop
Yeah.
you in. That looks good.
Look at that.
I could see, you know what? I feel like if you're watching on
Compliments to
YouTube, you
hair.
see it. But if you're just listening on podcast form, I want you to think about Giglio, peak slick back hair in the Limu Emu Cruella DeVille fur coat, showing up to ACC tournament time.
That would be amazing.
I could see you pulling up on a Tuesday night in Charlotte.
Gotta be the Tuesday.
Gotta be a Tuesday night, looking like Ric Flair. Woo!
I don't even think Rick could pull that one off.
Maybe
that
not.
one's woo.
That's very, very good. And also, John,
Props to Aaron, by the way.
John, I don't know. I don't know.
There's some really good ones. I love the shirts they put on you.
I don't know why I don't know why I'm out here looking like Benson Boone. Mythical, magical. Is that what that is? For those watching on YouTube, you can see me in this glittery outfit. If you're listening on podcast, I could describe it as this like open. I mean, I don't have that much hair on my chest,
Yeah.
so I don't know
Did
what
they Photoshop it in?
I don't know what ChatGPT is doing. And since it's on Twitter, I'm glad that those of you who are still using Twitter actively did not go full grok and undress me completely. I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, I don't have that much chest hair.
Mm.
I have hairy arms, hairy legs, but no.
You know what my biggest disappointment in all that was?
What's that?
They all used old studio pictures and they couldn't find anything from the podcast.
Well, it's all Google based. But you know what? I give them credit because if you noticed,
They did change some of the messaging.
They
there.
did X out some things. So
branding, I should say. Yes.
they X'd out some branding. So we
Props.
see you guys.
Props.
We see.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping brought to you by Inovana. You can check them out online at inovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Inovana.
We'll continue the Panthers conversation in a little bit with our guy Jake Failing. He's the hype man for the Carolina Panthers. We'll also go back to the OG Sports phone as well. In the meantime, speaking of merch, we talk about Roback. We talk about putting some logos on a chinchilla. Also, I don't know. Maybe Mike can do that. Maybe Mikey P can do that. Right now, if you go over to the secret stash, the OG.shop, that's the OG.shop, we got some new material up. We got the NASCAR inspired material with our corporate champions on the car. Showed that to Aaron and Anna over at Sound Off this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And because that shirt was inspired by a shirt that Aaron has, because Aaron collects all these old NASCAR racing shirts. So that shirt was inspired by an actual racing team.
Oh, okay.
We just kind of riffed on it and made it look like that. I mean,
More you
nailed
know.
it. Just
Yeah.
nailed it. And then for whatever reason, Giglio wanted a Waffle House knockoff.
I love the Waffle House stuff.
What inspired you for that, by the way?
I was just scrolling and I saw somebody on my social feed wearing an actual Waffle House hoodie, but I would wear.
Gotcha.
But then I was like, well, instead of making it Waffle House,
Okay.
might as well just make it Ovies and Giglio.
That's fine. I'll rock with it. So all that is over on the secret shop. Just go to the secret stash. Head on over to the OG.shop. Again, that's the OG.shop. Speaking of websites, hit our guy, Matt Davis, insuregarner.com. Again, that's insuregarner.com, or call him directly at 919-779-8277. Matt Davis can help you out with your home and auto insurance. You know that at State Farm. However, you might not have known this. Financial planning. 2026, you've got goals. This year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Maybe you're thinking about retirement. What do I have to do to make sure that I have what I need to make sure that my retirement goals are met? Well, Matt Davis can help you with the financial planning as well. So contact him today. So maybe you're already a Matt Davis customer. Maybe you like your insurance, but have you thought about future financial planning? Matt's going to help you out there. So hit him up, insuregarner.com, or call him directly at 919-779-8277. Big thanks to our friends over at Longleaf. You can get OG Light at Longleaf. They got cans at OG Light.
They made their own sausage last week. It was really, 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 really good.
I went on Friday night for dinner.
I went Thursday.
I had the pork loin sandwich that had the Carolina mustard sauce and pimento cheese on it.
Whoa.
It was delicious. It was also their pasta night. So they had the brisket bowl,
Oh.
which is really, really good. So they have all sorts.
I had
They,
chili though the other day.
they got
had chili.
specials. They got specials every day. And most importantly, they've got OG Light that you can buy per can. So head on, and a great bourbon selection. So head on over to longleafswine.com. Maybe you love Longleaf Swine so much that you want to live by one of their locations, whether it's downtown Raleigh or the one out in North Raleigh. Our friends at Hometown Realty can help you out with that. Check them out online at myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. They also have a new thing going on.
I was going to say they have a very cool promo going on for their 25th anniversary. They are honoring hometown heroes.
Mm-hmm.
A hometown hero is an individual who makes a positive impact through service, leadership, kindness, or community involvement. If you know someone who gives their time, heart, and energy to others, we want to hear about them. Nominations must be for individuals now, not businesses or organizations. So here's how it works. You're going to nominate your hometown hero to our friends at Hometown Realty. The office will select the winner. Each office chooses a monthly winner from their submissions. Winners are announced, selected the last Friday of the month and announced the first Friday of the next month.
Sweet.
Then there's going to be a grand prize. There's also going to be gift cards for monthly winners. So all kinds of cool things happening at Hometown Realty. That's myhtr.com for more information.
Also, big thanks to Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out online at wh.lawyer. Let's say you bought a house with our friends at Hometown Realty. You could take it to close. Something as simple as that. They can do that for you. Small business, personal legal needs, they got you. Attorneys and counselors at law with locations all across North Carolina. So check them out online at wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer. All right, to ACC hoops. For Duke and North Carolina, it's very, very simple. Defense. Both teams seem to be struggling to find a consistent defensive identity, although North Carolina has a different wrinkle on top of the defense, specifically Caleb Wilson, and the fact that he doesn't get the ball during key stretches in the second half. This is now 2 games in a row where this has been a problem for the Tar Heels. But then with NC State, ACC historic win with a dominating win over Florida State on Saturday. Where do you want to start? You want to start with the Heels and the Blue Devils, or NC State having another appendix game taken care of?
Let's start with Duke, because you're yada-ing the best part. Duke now 13-6 against teams with red in their. That's a win percentage of 68.4%.
Okay.
That they're creeping up and starting to catch the orange teams. So black remains John Shire's Achilles heel at this point.
Okay.
But yeah, another red team down. Also, Duke's bracket luck has started early.
Yeah.
As some have pointed out.
Yeah,
All right, let's go.
Is this a thing or not? I guess this is a classic thing. If we were still doing radio bits, thing or not a thing?
Oh, sir, this is a thing, because once it starts, it doesn't end. Your bracket luck never ends.
Okay.
Starts with Kansas. Peterson doesn't play. Then they go to Louisville. Mikael Brown doesn't play. Now they play SMU, and suddenly Boopy Miller's got diphtheria or like the Spanish flu or something. Randomly doesn't play. Now, as those who watched the game, Jay Will and whoever else was working the game.
Well, I think like every Duke player was there because they were honoring the 2001 national championship.
But the announcers were acting like, SMU was like this YMCA outfit, this plucky YMCA team that was somehow finding a way to be competitive with Big Bad Duke. Neither here nor there, but missing the boop. So yeah, man, if you got bracket luck in November, man, you're going to run positively hot, and the 98 Vols prophecy will be fulfilled. So to the point where we don't even have one today, do we?
I don't think we do. No.
Okay, so I'll just do it for my own general purposes,
entertainment purposes,
my own purposes.
Sure,
I will take Duke to win the national championship and fulfill the 98 Vols prophecy.
Okay. All right. A couple things. I feel like why am I coming into like whoa, hold up, context. Okay, context. All right. In the case of Kansas and Peterson, has he played in any of the big games in the Triangle?
Yeah, he played against Carolina.
He played against Carolina.
He played against State. He just didn't finish the game against State.
And he got hurt in that game. Okay. Aha. Okay. So there's
I think the guy at Louisville is doing the same thing.
There's some question as with Peterson, what exactly is going on with Kansas and Peterson? All right. So I think there's a little context that's important there. You mentioned Louisville, Mikael Brown not being there. Let's not forget that the whole point about the Louisville game was, hey, man, this is a deep enough team. They're there at home. I mean, heck, if you looked at the pregame stuff, it was like Ken Palm still had it as a Louisville win, like all that kind of stuff. Duke came out there and won the game. Boopy Miller, though, I'll give you no context needed with the Boopy Miller thing. He has been otherworldly, as we've pointed out. His usage, his offense, all that stuff has been up there with Cam Boozer this year. So he's having a hell of a season, and he had a hell of a game against Carolina. And Boopy in this game might change things given that Duke's been having these slow starts. Just saying. Probably, yes. But speaking of the slow starts, here's John Shire after the game. Big thanks to our guy Ethan over to the News and Observer for clipping this for us.
It's hard to feel very good when they shoot, 56% from the field all game. And, I thought there were some great sequences in the Louisville game in the second half. But you have to adjust. You have to move on. You have to have a different scouting report now. They're a different team. They do different things. And it's been an issue. That's been an issue. Bottom line, I think the consistency with when we even defended as well. They beat us in the paint. They beat us in the rebounding battle. And then yet they still shot 50% from three. So there's obviously things we got to clean up and do better. To me, it's mentality. And then obviously there's some X and O's, strategic things that we got to help them with as coaches.
So that was Shire after the game, and this is another one of those glass half full, glass half empty things that we toyed around with last week in Duke. Because to Shire's point, you found another game in which you overcame a slow start and you problem solved in real time, and you came out with a win. And you've been doing that more often than not. You should get credit for your ability to solve these issues and be playing winning basketball when it matters, if you want to get cliche with it. Your best players are stepping up when it's time to step up. We've seen this with Cam Boozer in the second half. We've seen Caleb Foster as streaky as he can be. He's had some moments. Isaiah Evans has had moments. The role players, once again, find their spots to contribute. We saw this in the Louisville game.
Yeah, we got Gungaba's fastball against SMU.
So there's this kind of like, on one hand, yes, the slow starts are a bit of a red flag. On the other, Duke continues to find ways to adjust, somebody step up, do what you need to do to win the games. That's worth something. And you look at their record and you go, yeah, man, it's still freaking impressive, all things considered. Is it a little bit of bracket luck, as you joked, with not having key players on the court? Yeah, there's a little bit of bracket luck there, but that's sports. And you know what? That's what happens in March too.
Virginia still doesn't have to give back that 2019 title because they didn't play Zion.
Last
They
time
didn't play Gonzaga.
Last time I checked, they don't take it away. There's no asterisks on it, right?
Only with mine.
Well,
on my wall,
yeah.
there's an asterisk.
The Stugotz is very strong in you. The Stugotz is very strong with you when it comes to that one. So they understand what the problem is. My thing is, we're already what's today's date? January 12th. We're kind of getting to the point where this is kind of who you are.
Right.
And you are kind of playing with fire, but it's kind of who you are, though. But if you're confident that your best players are going to still find ways to win, then I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Meanwhile, with North Carolina, same thing. Whereas John Shire is like wrapping his head around, why can't I get these guys to start the game off on time? Why are we finding ourselves in a scramble mode to take the lead back and close this thing out? I thought this problem was solved after Texas Tech. I thought this problem was solved after Georgia Tech. Why are we still doing this? This is now a concern with the Tar Heels and their defensive intensity. But the wrinkle is, hey, why is Caleb Wilson not getting the damn ball late? Okay. So I thought this is two parts from Hubert Davis's press conference after their win this weekend. And this is Andrew Jones from Tar Heel 24/7 relaying to Hubert, and I'm paraphrasing here, something that Seth Trimble had said about their switches on defense. I believe Seth Trimble called them lousy switches. So after Hubert's like, look, man, I didn't hear him say it, and I don't like commenting on things that I did not hear my player say and how he said it, but he did talk about the defense.
But in regards to our defense, there's a number of things that, over the last couple of games that just have to get better. The first thing is just guarding the ball, pressure on the ball, whether it was off of ball screens, just allowing Wake Forest to get into the middle where they could make plays or throw it out for 3. In the first half, I felt like our defense struggled transition-wise, even after made baskets not getting picked up. And so after SMU and then having a week of talking, addressing, and watching where we need to get better defensively, at times it looked where I wanted it to be, but not even close to where it needs to be moving forward.
So that was Hubert Davis talking about the defense. I think most people understand and recognize that. Now I'm going to fast forward. I'm going to scrub here on the YouTube to about 5 minutes, if I remember this correctly. He was asked about Caleb Wilson and once again him not getting the touches down the stretch. He had a great first half, and then he only had 2 shots over the course of 20 minutes of second half basketball. Here is Hubert's response, which I found interesting. You tell me if this is a thing or not a thing.
Yeah, Hubert, just another dominant and efficient first half from Caleb, 7 for 7 from the field. But then in the second half, kind of similar to Dallas, he got limited and only shot the ball twice. Is there something that defenses are doing mid-game to adjust for him, or what?
Yeah, they're putting more guys on him.
Brennan, Hubert.
That's it. No further explanation. They're putting more guys on him. Now, if you couldn't hear it quite right, the question essentially was dominant first half, but then he got winded, is how he put it. And Hubert's response is just, yeah, put more guys on him. This is 2 weeks in a row now. He took 2 shots in the second half in their win over Wake Forest, as Wake Forest made this a game. And I know Seth Greenberg apparently had one. He was on one. Yeah. I missed that.
Not the officiating. And
that's the reason why Carolina won?
It was a gift.
Okay. Sometimes I think Seth has PTSD of his time coaching in the ACC.
Yeah.
And when it comes to games against North Carolina and Duke, it's like it all comes back to him.
He's back in Charlotte in 08. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, he's back at Cameron Indoor getting escorted out after he got tossed because he wasn't happy with how something went. You know, like I don't know if there's like some PTSD there that comes out on the broadcast booth when it comes to officiating and like I've seen this before. Regardless, 2 shots for Caleb Wilson in the second half. When they lost to SMU, he went with 1 shot in the final 14 minutes of the game. Now, I don't know about you, and we've talked about this a lot when it comes to North Carolina. If he is your catalyst, if he's your energy, if he is the skilled guy that's going to go top in the NBA draft, why is Caleb Wilson not getting the ball more consistently down the stretch? Why is he not in a position to win basketball games for the Tar Heels? And it can't just be, quote, they're putting more guys on him. Something's not really clicking for me on that. And I'm not quite sure what's going on in that regard. Because let's think about this, right? We talked a lot about NC State and Darion Williams. We've talked a lot about Duke and Cam Boozer and how we've seen John Shire put Boozer in positions where we're going to win basketball games. You're going to make the right basketball play. Now, I understand Cam Boozer and Caleb Wilson are not playing the same position. I get all that kind of stuff. But I think the one through line is true. Your best players have to be in a position to help you win ball games. And Caleb Wilson, along with Henry Visar, are their best players down the stretch. And if Caleb is instant offense, if he's instant energy, why is he not getting these opportunities late in the game? This is one thing that I did ask out loud back in October during ACC tip-off. The one thing that we haven't necessarily seen from Hubert Davis with his time at North Carolina is freshman and being comfortable with you are the guy. Whereas at Duke, with John Shire, we've seen it time and time again. Freshman, you're the guy. Whether it was last year, obviously, with Cooper Flagg, or we're seeing this year with Cam Boozer. Am I reading too much into it? Hey, man, it's entirely possible. You know, it's been a week of basketball. It's been a week since we saw them play. And the last time we saw them was Caleb Wilson not getting the ball down the stretch. And we saw it again in a game that they could not put Wake Forest away.
I suppose they're happy with the first half of the game, 49-38 at the break. As you mentioned, you're getting a heavy dose of Caleb Wilson.
Yes.
Second half of this game, and obviously it was the last 7-8 minutes of this game is when Wake kind of surged and got themselves back into this and made this a true contest. So you could do both. You give Wake credit for fighting. You give Wake's backcourt credit, right? 56 points between Kalmasi and Harris.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah,
that's a big game. Okay, So you could also be Carolina concerned that guards are going off on you again.
Mhm.
Totally get that. Not the response you probably would have expected. Remember last week I mentioned they got run by Alabama at their place in a game at the Smith Center. They played poor defensively. The next 5 games, you really saw the best out of Carolina.
Yes.
So I think Hubert expected more of what he saw in the first half of this game as opposed to the second half of this game. Thing for Carolina, they're both going out west this week. We'll see how they kind of handle
Those are dangerous spots.
this old school Ivy League-esque. You go on the road trip and then switch a little swap action, a little upside down pineapple action going on out there. Stanford and Cal. Duke goes out. One plays Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
The other plays Saturday, and then we switch.
I wasn't expecting upside down pineapple.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
Only on this podcast.
You going on a cruise anytime soon?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Never. I'll never go on a cruise because I'm convinced that's how I will die.
I was gonna make
not from the 10-year-old soda.
I was gonna make it
Or
Bobby,
beer.
but if you know what, I'm just gonna leave it there.
Perfect.
I'm just gonna leave it there.
Perfect. No, I wouldn't be concerned necessarily with Wilson's touches. I would be concerned that the game wasn't the type of response after a poor effort at SMU and after a week off. You wanted to see a little bit more fire as a collective team, whereas this felt like more of a paint by numbers for this group. Win, Besser, Wilson, get you the big explosions, do all the heavy lifting, and then you kind of fill in the blanks with the other parts.
While they're on the West Coast swapping, and when the keys are being put in the fishbowl for Cal and Stanford, do you think Hubert and John, it's like, what do we got to do to get these responses out of the team that we're looking for? Because they're both kind of struggling to get the responses they want.
Sure.
Meanwhile, NC State's getting the response I guess they wanted from Will Wade in terms of these very winnable games on the road. Get Darion Williams going. Matt Abel going. So Boston College was a closer affair, but you saw what was going on. Florida State blew them out, but it was more of the same in which, hey, look at that. Darion Williams got going. Hey, look at that. Matt Abel was getting going. And that was that. Now they come home they get a week off. Georgia Tech at home this upcoming Saturday. And then the real test for NC State. They go on the road Tuesday the 20th to take on Clemson, a team that's very, very similar to them. Although Clemson is undefeated in ACC play right now after they got over on Notre Dame this weekend. But again, in terms of metrics-wise, Clemson and NC State very similar in that regard.
Lousy timing on the week off, number one. If I was playing the way that NC State was playing right now.
Keep it going.
Well, let's play every day.
Yeah.
But interesting. The limited run of the Raleigh Little Theater has finally closed. And look at that. Lo and behold, you coach your team. You put the Shakespearean theater to bed. You coach your team and you get the response that you want. So here you are after 2 impressive performances, 2 road wins, 1 over Boston College. And now for the first time since 1991, they scored 100 points in an ACC road game.
Yeah.
19 threes. Again, Darion Williams. Someone had pointed out the headband. Noah, our guy Noah.
Yeah, no.
Had pointed out the headband. With the headband, he's gotten his act together. He's gotten his season back in gear. That's great to see. Abel to me as well. Arsenault. So it's almost like these guys that you signed in the off season and had specific ideas of how they were going to play. And if they play that way, you look like the team that you thought you had. That's a bonus for Will Wade. That's a bonus for NC State. To your point, yes, tougher tests lie ahead. But hey, man, Florida State gave Duke all kinds of problems.
They did.
NC State, made them look pretty silly. Boston College, by the way, went to Louisville. You might think Boston College not very good. Boston College was beating Louisville for a good stretch there in this game. So
I was going to say, Boston College went out there and justified your. I didn't think Boston College was all that bad.
I don't think they have better players than you think.
I mean, that's fair.
So we'll see. We'll see how it all ends up working out for NC State. But so far, the 24-25 UNC prophecy right on track.
Really is, isn't it? We're just going to have to wait and see what happens against Clemson. Although don't screw it up against Georgia Tech on Saturday. Big thanks to Gordon Miller and Miller Lending. You can check them out online at millerlending.com or call them directly at 919-447-3377. It was fun to hang out with Gordon last week, get a good idea of what the market looks like, what makes sense for you, and why you should never pay closing costs. Most importantly, you just need to make the call to see if it's the right decision for you to refinance right now or find some other creative ways to make your goals achievable with our friends at Miller Lending. So check them out online at millerlending.com or call them directly at 919-447-3377. Take that thing to close. You will get a gift basket from our friends at The Butcher's Market. Check them out online at thebutchersmarkets.com. We're back into the thick of things, man. You got your 2 weeks off. It's kind of brutal that we only had a 2-day weekend this past weekend. Tough, man.
A normal week.
It's
We
tough.
had a normal work week.
It's tough going back to a normal work week. It's tough. You're right back to, in my case, back to hockey just about like every other night. Dragging your kids all over the place, all that kind of fun stuff. You might not have time. It's no big deal.
Who does?
Because they got prepared meals for you. So head on over to the Butcher's Market and make that happen. And of course, our friends at Roback, speaking of things that you get when you take it to close at Miller Lending, you'll get something from our friends at Roback as well. Check them out online at roback.com. I'm rocking the hoodie today. They got, I noticed that they re-upped on some colors this week. So if you've had some stuff that it's not available, XYZ, a lot of them are back this week, and check them out. Because even though we're past the winter break, that does not mean, and we had some like fake spring over the weekend, and it's back to cold. You know what the deal is. Get the comfortable hoodies with our friends over at Roback and use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. Joe and I were talking about taxes earlier today because it's about that time. It's tax season.
It's time.
Yeah, it is time.
All right.
Well, I'm going to grab the box, but you tell people about Brassfield Accounting, brassfieldaccounting.com, and where they're going to help you out.
Look, Brassfield Accounting, you got a fractional CFO. So these are all the things that I'm trying to keep track of. Invoices, expenses, keeping everything straight. So when it's tax time, you have it ready. Well, guess what? Chris Brassfield has hired a tax accountant who can now file your business's taxes for you. Also, one thing that Chris is really, 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 really good at is handling your government grants. And Chris knows, as someone who got his start here in the Triangle, by the way, they also have their offices here at the RTP. So he's not just in Alaska, but he knows this is an area that is rich with people who get government grants. And there are a lot of rules that comes with how you handle that money. So do yourself a favor, reach out, brassfieldaccounting.com.
Now, we got a shipment from Alaska.
This was on my front doorstep on Saturday. Notice now, I want to point something out to you real quick, as someone who's learned the hard way. Do you see the box that he used to send that?
Yeah.
That's the flat rate box. Your boy in previous instances, he was not smart enough to use a flat rate box. Chris is a brilliant businessman.
Buddy, we with that pat of gooch, dog? We really doing that pat of Gucci?
Look at that bag. I don't realize. He sent us one for you, one for me. I don't even know if I could use it because it's too fancy for me.
This is a nice bag.
Very, very nice. I can't put my sparkle pins on there, my spirit pins,
Why not?
I don't want to ruin the bag, man.
This is a nice bag. Dang.
Look at that logo, the moose doing your taxes.
The moose is doing the taxes. That's good stuff. This is going to get some. Hey, man, look, I got trips coming up. This might be going to the Virgin Islands. I'm just saying.
Whoa.
Need my.
Very nice.
That's a nice bag. Damn.
Yeah.
I might have to retire my my Topo Designs bag for that bad boy. That's good.
Very, very
like
fancy. Yes, our friends.
Thank you, Chris.
So help them out. Brassfield Accounting.
I like it.
.com.
Yes, please go help them out. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. If you go to Panthers game, you know this face. You know he gets you hyped up. He is Jake Failing. He is the Panthers hype man at Bank of America Stadium. Jake, what's going on, man?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Love the graphics there. That was really, I was digging that.
We try, man. You put me in a couple hours in front of Cap Cut, you never know what might happen. You never know what might happen. So also you inspire me. I see your social media stuff. I'm like, man, Jake's killing it right now. So I have to step my game up. Saturday seemed like it was just the reason why I wanted to talk to you as opposed to doing like a typical, Mike K or Julian Council, breakdown of what Saturday was. I felt like Saturday was a little bit bigger than the game itself because they haven't had a home playoff game since that magical season, the 2015-2016 Super Bowl season. And it almost felt like with Cam being there it was almost like reminding you what it could be like at Bank of America Stadium. Now you got to keep this thing going. How was Saturday for you? Because you've been there doing this 5 years now, so you've seen some wild stuff in blips. But I guess Saturday had to be pretty fantastic.
Yeah, blips is the right way to say it. So I moved down here. You're famously part of the group that calls me a Raleigh quitter, Joe. So we moved from Raleigh to Charlotte in 2014. And you know what happened around that window. So we came in right at just an incredible time. I'm from the Sandhills area of North Carolina, so I was a fan in '95, and so we just jumped right into it. And I've had the gig for 5 years. But you're right. Saturday was different. And I think the best way to describe it is, the fans are awesome. Like, when I'm walking around the stadium or like post game or pregame, or I see people around town and they're like, thanks for hyping us up. You do it. But somebody grabbed me pregame and they said, hey, we need you today. You got to hype us up. And I go, I don't think you do. I don't.
Days. You needed me against the Saints, like in 2022 against the Saints at home. You needed me.
Yeah. I don't think you do. And it's funny, when I first took the gig, because actually I was hired by Mike Bonner, and he used to run entertainment for the Panthers in 2020. Obviously that season was very different. So the first season was 21. And, they were like, hey, Cam was sort of the hype man when he was on the field. And so like for Fan Fest and things like that, he would run around, he would start the wave, he would get people going. And then even in a game when it's a lot more buttoned up, he would still, again, be the hype man down on the field, turning around, looking at the crowd. And so it was like, hey, you just need to do what Cam did.
Easy enough,
right?
No big deal.
I'm like, okay. To what extent? Like on the spectrum of what Cam brought to the table, what do you need from me? And so over the last 5 years, it's looked a lot of different ways. At the beginning, it was, you're a hype man. Well, actually, it was a co-hype man. I don't know if you know this. Not many people do unless you're a Panthers fan. But there was another hype man the first year, and his name's Stanley McClover, famously the older brother of Brian Burns.
Mm-hmm.
So Stanley and I were co-hype men, actually, for a year and a half. His contract situation got a little spicy, so Stanley just sort of faded away that second year, and then it was me. And so my friends say, you turn into a host. They said, do we call you host man now? So it's like hype man to host man. And the levels of like hyping go crazy / do a sponsor read has, ebbed and flowed over the years. But to your point, Joe, it has been blips. The last 5 years hasn't been how, anybody that, follows the Panthers have wanted it to go. This year was different, though.
Yeah, that's why I get it. We had a couple of calls we're revolutionizing sports podcasting, Jake. I don't know if you know this or not, by taking phone calls from fans.
No one has ever.
Nobody's ever thought to take phone calls from fans and then play them during the middle of the podcast and responded to them. And, one of the calls that got me that we'll run a little bit later was like, it's easy to look at the end of it and how the game ended, and you want that back, and you're thinking of the what if, unless you're Giglio, who had a ticket on this thing. But it was more like, I'm not mad or I'm disappointed. I'm just kind of like proud that they even got here. You go back to the beginning of the season where you got podcasts quitting, people saying they don't want to go, you get all sorts of stuff, to where they are today. I'm really convinced that Bryce Young and Dave Canales probably won a lot of people over down the stretch, even though they did lose a bunch of games there at the end. They won the NFC South. You got to host a playoff game. It was almost there. You can see the vision. I feel like Saturday really was like crystallizing. Yeah, these two dudes won us over, even some of the harshest critics.
Absolutely. I saw one stat, and you guys are going to have to check me on this. This is where you, again, in your revolutionizing of podcasting, a lower third here. But it was like, we were dogs in as many games as the Raiders. Mm-hmm. The Raiders have the first overall pick. We made the playoffs. So, I mean, come on. You have to say something positive. Even the biggest cynic has to say something positive about Canales, the work the staff did, and the work that Bryce did. But, yeah, I mean, it's hard to not be encouraged. I mean, we've got something going here, and it can't be 12-5 overnight. this was a necessary step in that direction, though, and I think that's where we're going.
I think you put it perfectly on your Instagram. I kept pounding through it all. Can't believe this is our life. Look at you doing the memes, Jake.
My favorite response to that was the industry plant is back. I get the most amazing tweets and DMs from people, but yeah, they claimed that I was popping up when times were good. And so I send the skull emojis and crying laughing emojis. But yeah, that was fun. I felt like LeBron there, man.
Well, I mean, you can't be there all the time. You're too busy doing Ted Lasso impersonations most of the year. So that's keeping you busy as well.
I'm still waiting for them to lean into that. The mustache there.
Honestly, you should lean into that. You should lean into that. Now, speaking, going back to the thing about hyping people up for Cam. 2 instances in which you were in the building for Cam Newton's return, if you will. There was the famous "I'm back" there in the Matt Rule era, from the win in Arizona to his first game back at Bank of America Stadium. Electric, right? And then he was finally brought back to pound the drum or sound the drum. And all week people were hype about this, and it's appropriate, man. We're 10 years removed from that Super Bowl MVP season. It felt like the right time and the right place for it. So I can see this through social media. I can see it through video, through the broadcast. But being there, I got to imagine that those 2 instances, specifically this one with sounding the drum, was on a level that you had to be there for.
For sure. Also love that you're leaning into sound the drum. That was the big thing that we've rolled out the last week or two. And I think you're going to see a lot more of it, which is pretty cool. The Cam stuff, maybe this is a hot take. When Cam came out in uniform, 3 years ago, I think the place was louder. Now, not that it wasn't loud on Saturday, but when he came out in uniform, I don't know. That was something. The Cam thing this time clearly was 73,000 tickets, but it was dripped all week. It was like, he's going to be with Peggy on the podcast. He's going to be at the Roaring Riot. Shout out Zach, what they pulled off. And you saw like his font in the post. And so there was a buildup, but it was like Christmas morning in a way sort of happened. And so when he came out, of course the place was lit. I mean, it was unbelievable. I was, 10 yards away. I was behind the legends, watching the legends like they were like fans themselves, filming. Everyone was filming. It was special and it was electric. I'm just a Cam guy. Both of those moments were incredible. I will say though, and maybe I'm like getting into one of the questions you're going to ask though later. We always do a legend that pounds the drum. It never makes TV. You only see it if you're there, between the third and the fourth quarter. And, Greg did it a couple weeks ago. Khalil did it in the Seahawks game. This time, at the end of the third quarter, Coker catches the 52-yard reception. The place is unhinged.
Yeah.
The lights are off. We have no night games, right? This is the first time we're experiencing games at night. Anyway, and those first 4 Hall of Honor guys come out of the tunnel. I have chills right now. Steve Smith, Muhammad, Wells, and Jake, and they each hit the drum because we hit it 4 times. They each hit the drum. I'm telling you, I have never in my life been at a sporting event that was louder. So anyway, that's cool.
That's cool though. Real quick, that's cool. It's actually something that has kind of bothered me about the Panthers. Like we're with the Carolina Hurricanes all the time, right?
Yeah.
And the Hurricanes, you're sitting here sounding the drum, pounding the drum, whatever. The Canes do the siren. And there's no new ideas. They're just remixes. So it's neither here nor there. The point is the Lenovo Center gets to a certain level when you bring guys like this back out. It's to conjure up why you love this team, right? Like why you love this organization. And the one thing that's and again, there's a lot of ego at play and why some of these things happen and the way they unfold the way that they do. But I love that on Saturday, that not only are you bringing Cam back at the beginning, but that third and fourth quarter with those guys, because there's a lot of older Panthers fans out there. And I remember this too, when they went to the Super Bowl the first time. These guys were such a crucial part of why you fell in love with the franchise. You should bring them out and remind the younger fans who are new to this whole thing, hey man, there's this connective tissue throughout of why people like this franchise. And here's the reason why. So I think that's very, very cool that they do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a special moment. The sound the drum thing has legs, and you mentioned the siren. I mean, look, Stu Jay Stu comes down, he does it. So like a lot of the Panthers guys, they love it. It's a
Jonathan Stewart crushed it when he did the
broke it. Didn't one of them break? I think he broke it. Like
I think it was either him or Kuechly, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and double check on that one. Let me go to my stats and research on that.
Yeah, but if you're a regular PSL holder, you know that there were lots of Easter eggs that popped up in Saturday's show. I mean, it was a game, but it was a show what the entertainment team put on. And so during breaks, there were members of percussion hitting a smaller drum, and it's a thing. I went to a Cowboys game mid-season. It was right after we beat them, which is amazing. I sort of sat there quietly and smirked the whole time. And they have these really dialed in, programmed, like 10-second hits that, like, someone like me, it doesn't make sense for me to come on camera. It doesn't make sense for like a Sir Per ladder climb. It takes too long. It was just very quick. It goes to 3 guys dressed up as cowboys, and they're, waving towels. That was what we did in this game on Saturday. It was like a quick thing, percussion, hitting the drum. It was cool. And so I think it was a precursor to a lot of really neat entertainment things to come next year.
So it was Jay Stu who broke the siren. Luke Kuechly almost broke the siren, but Jonathan Stewart did break the siren.
Got it. I gave you a little air cover there to do the research.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it feels like obviously, Jake, you're familiar with the Hurricanes. They went 10 years without making the playoffs, and then 2019 Game 3. To your point, it's the loudest I've ever seen in an arena that I've been in because this long release. For the Panthers, though, it's almost like a retaking. Panther fans, it's a retaking of their stadium,
right?
Because so much of the last 5. Let's just stick to the David Tepper era. So much of it has been other fans coming in and taking over the building. So much of it has been, these ridiculous, negative $2 tickets. You're paying more for the fees than you are for the actual ticket. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like this reaway and right down to, I'm not trying to get you in trouble, but fuck, man, Steve Smith might come and punch me, but right down to his ridiculous comments about, oh man, this city's soft and it's like
weak ass city was the quote.
Fans.
Weak ass.
It's like, look, man, been through a lot of shit in the last 10 years. All right. So I just kind of took it as you guys retaking your corners, like Panther fans coming out in a show of support that I thought it's actually pretty cool. Not to sound like a jerk about fans and be nostalgic about sports, but I just feel like they were taking their corners back, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know a lot of this stuff gets spun up. People get a bad rap when they don't know the whole story. And I think that that's always important to have full context. I think it's also important to know that, Steve came out and hyped up the crowd pregame. I don't think that made TV. He was also part of the 4 people that came out to sound the drum. And then obviously, ownership and management.
Well, that's what family is, though. You can talk shit about them and take you back.
Yeah.
But I would like for him next time to remember that.
Yeah. Ownership has done an incredible, the reason that entertainment that's what everybody keeps talking about is the show. So, because, you got ownership investing in that. And so, the last 5 years, not just for the Panthers, but I think you got to look at the Hornets. You got to look at everything that's been going on in Charlotte. It's been rough, not a ton to celebrate. And so I know my counterparts over with the Hornets, and we all sort of talk about, like, how do you get people encouraged on their feet, when you've lost a couple games or when things aren't going great. And so it is tough. And so, but we all know that what this city can be like. We all know what North Carolina, South Carolina can be like when this team is winning. I mean, you see the Hornets now, they're messing around and winning some games too.
Hey, put some respect on the Summer League champs name, okay?
I'm saying. And so it's just like, you just need a little positivity. You need a couple dubs, and the city responds in a big, big, big way.
Jake, we appreciate the time, man. It's cool that you were able to be a part of that. I always like it when people who have to sit through it from time to time and still put on the happy face, even when things aren't so happy. You get rewarded with cool experiences like that. So glad to see that happen. And next time we're in Charlotte, I'll hit you up. We'll be there for ACC tournament. I don't know. You might be somewhere. I don't know. I look at your social media feeds sometimes, and you're like off on these extravagant tropical places. I was like, Jake's living a different life.
No, hey, Joe, you know me. You know I'm a huge nerd. We were just before this talking about all the bobbleheads and stuff I have on my shelves in my office.
Right.
At the end of the day, man, I'm a huge fan. I am a sports fan. I am a Panthers fan. this is a dream gig, and Saturday was just sort of the cherry on top, and I hope we keep building on it. But I love coming on and talking sports with you guys. Thanks for having me.
You want to? I was going to save this. I thought they were going to win. I was going to crack open another one of these. Okay. Do you want? So when I go there in Charlotte, you want to crack one of these open? You, me, Darren Gant, just for old time's sake.
Oh, DG, I feel like this is a trap. You also know that I'm a beer snob.
Exactly. That's why. This is why I'm tempting you. I'm like, do you want to try one?
I'm sort of just like short circuiting here. You can see me. Sure. But off camera, we'll talk about what's really going to happen. Okay.
Hey, I had one. I had some inert stuff in there, man. It's good. You know when you bottle condition things, we usually get a little sediment. Not a lot of people bottle conditioning Bud Lights. So.
Yeah, let's decant that thing. All right.
All right, Jake. We'll talk to you later, man.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
919 444 2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Always fun catching up with Jake. Let's go to the OG Sports phone to keep those Panthers vibes going. Let's go to 919.
Hey guys, Will from Smithfield here. Just finished the Panthers game, and I'll keep it quick, keep it brief, but that one hurts. No getting around it. But Bryce played awesome. The team made some incredible plays. It was a great game. They made it a great game, even though it looked like a blowout early on. I mean, we just lost because he made a great throw. All things considered, it was a great game. I hate the season ended like that, but a lot to look forward to with this team, except for the defensive coordinator. Not too sure about that soft zone on the last drive. He's done that a lot this season, but still raw emotions right after the game. It was entertaining. Bryce played excellent. The Coker was excellent. There's a lot to be proud of. There's a lot to look forward to for this team. So stinks to end this way, but there's always next year. Thanks, guys.
You're right. There is always next year. It's funny talking about Evero. They got permission. The Panthers gave permission for the Falcons and who else was it to talk to Evero for their head coaching jobs. I forgot the other team. That's neither here nor there. I get people's issues with the play or the defense at the end of the game. I would point out two things, as I said at the jump. One, no JC Horn. That's a problem. He wasn't on the field because he was being assessed for a concussion. And they decided to attack what has been Carolina's weak spot all year, and that's over the middle. And you notice when the Rams were displaced after their hot start, they were forced, he was outside the hash marks. Going down that play, going down the final drive up until the last play there with the touchdown, all that stuff were these crosses, man, all between the hashes. And that's something that the Panthers have been dealing with. I get the issue though, because you're playing soft. You're just hoping that the receivers don't break it open, and they have to get a touchdown, right? I get why they were in that situation. Unfortunately, it just put Matt Stafford in a position to win the game for them, and that's exactly what he did. Let's go to a 252.
I'm just really glad that Evero is playing soft defense, because 2.5 minutes is not enough time to score. I'm just really glad he played so soft on defense and just let them go 15-yard chunks at a time down the field, which I knew exactly was going to happen because that's what the fuck he does. Also, Xavier Leggett, get the fuck out of here, man. You're fucking sorry. One catch, that's what we get. Fuck you, get out of here. You're sorry ass. Take your horse, ride it out. God damn, I hate Evero.
Curse or don't. Curse or don't. Hey, look, every town that had their team exit the playoffs is going to be mad at people. Like, for instance, I'm sure right now, if I was listening to WIP, they're all getting on Nick Sirianni's ass about calling a timeout when he didn't hit, when they could have had 3 timeouts with a chance to get the ball back in their loss, right? Like that, by calling the timeout, by running the offense the way that they did, they're late. By calling a timeout, you then screwed yourself of potentially getting the ball back. But look, every town's going to be like this. It's just that simple. Let's go to 919.
Hey guys, Scott in Wake Forest. Sunday morning, kind of thinking over the Panthers game yesterday. They gave the effort, and when they went up, with 2 minutes to go, they really gave me something to cheer about. So, parents always say, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. Well, I'm disappointed, but I'm not mad. They've shown signs that they can play some football. If they play next season regularly the way they played against the 2 Rams games this year, they're going to be a pretty good team. Yep, probably has a lot to do with the NFC South still being weak. And the schedule might be a little bit tougher, but, all they need to do is get a little bit tougher too. Okay? Maybe in 4 or 5 years, we'll be thinking about the Panthers the way we think about the Hurricanes. Hey, you made the playoffs. Now what are you going to do? We'll see. Later.
I like that call. I like that you and I and some of the listeners have clearly triangle-based, have made the connection between the 19 Carolina Hurricanes getting back to the playoffs after 10 years of not making it and this Panthers team getting in the playoffs. And that's why when we talked to Julian last week, it's like, hey, man, enjoy the weekend. It's not a given, like in the case of the Carolina Hurricanes, that they're coming up on 8 straight of these. It's not a given in the NFL, given how the schedules are, everything's for parity, worst to first, all that kind of stuff, right? So I'd like to think that this was, in the right direction. And you can build off this. But if you take anything from today's podcast, I think you said it earlier, in the NFL, no less, there is no how you end it is how you start. Not a single thing points in that direction historically. Don't act like this is all right. Everything's great. No. Enjoy the year for what it was. You got there. Enjoy the vibes. Now you got to, and they know this. You got to get back to work and put the team on the field that is going to keep this thing going. They got some decisions to make too. Like I saw Rico Dowdle, right? Rico Dowdle's not coming back. He's not coming back. And we go back to the beginning of the season.
That's progress, though.
Right.
I don't have to marry every single person you sleep with.
You don't. And we talked about this in the middle of the season when he was running hot. It was, yes, run Rico Dowdle because he is the hot hand right now. But you notice things tightened up at the end. And he's sitting here talking about, I don't know how my offseason is going to go.
I do.
I do. Let somebody else overpay for you.
Yeah.
Not the Panthers.
And maybe not use a second round pick on a running back too. Please.
There's that too. All right. One more. 336.
Yeah. So talking about Bryce Young and the 5th year option or a new contract and all these Panthers fans that don't want Bryce Young back for some reason or say he's not worth X amount of money makes no sense. This doesn't make any sense. Bryce is the better, even if you don't think he is a great option, right? Even if you don't think he is in the upper echelon of quarterbacks or even could be eventually, who else are you going to get, right? Look at what quarterbacks are making right now. Geno Smith is making $38 million a year. Baker Mayfield's making 33. Even Justin Fields is getting $20 million. Deshaun Watson with that horrifying contract, but that was always a mistake. You got Kyler Murray's making over $40 million a year. Tua's making $50 million a year. All right, so what can we get Bryce Young for? Even if we get him for $40 million a year, that's still probably going to end up being a steal because everybody else sucks. You're going to draft a young quarterback? Really? We're going to take that risk again? That's a terrible option because then we're going to have to trade up and get him or hope that somebody falls, and even then I don't trust any of these options. So you have to give Bryce Young this contract, and he has negotiating power because they know that everybody sucks. Right? That's my 2 cents on Bryce. Give him the damn contract already. What the fuck are we doing?
So we can spend some more time talking about this tomorrow. I'm inclined to go back to our conversation with Mike Kay from the Charlotte Observer. 5th year option, there's no debate. End of discussion. It's an economically sound thing to do over the next 2 seasons. Done. That being said, I can be convinced that if you feel like you've got the guy, you feel that you can win with Bryce Young, and I think he's proven this year that you can win with him, does it make more economic sense to go ahead and knock a contract out now so that when you're done with the process and the 5th year option, you don't find yourself overpaying for him? You don't find yourself in a Dolphin situation where you're overpaying for Tua.
I was going to say, you're going to pay him at least 50 per year if you wait until that.
Yeah.
He's entering his 6th year.
Right. So those are
at least,
those are
if
some,
not more.
I still think the smart thing to do is to do the 5th year option and a discussion. And you know what you got for the next 2 years. But I can be convinced, if it's a team-friendly contract, to knock out the deal now. But we'll see, because we have lots of history as it relates to teams finding themselves in a position where they then overpay for the QB economics of the NFL because they just didn't bite the bullet then rather than waiting. So anyway, something to keep an eye on for the rest of the season. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. Just a hunch. Just a hunch. So I went to Two Roosters on Friday. I did the double. Went to Longleaf for dinner, and then we went to Two Roosters on Friday night. And I did text Jared. I'm like, dude, which store is the busiest, man? Because every time I go to Person, it is a line out the door. And for good reason. They brought the favorites back. And I had the peanut butter cookie dough. Yeah. So, you know why I look the way that I look? Is because my kids order with their eyes rather than thinking about what makes more sense. So they ordered with their eyes. And my son Jacob got the large of the peanut butter cookie.
Just get a pint.
At that point, yes. So he can't finish it. So what does he do? He's like, Dad, you want the rest of it? You know I want the rest of it. I ordered a small for portion control. Now you're handing me half of a cup of ice cream. Yes, I'm going to finish it. And you wonder why I look the way that I look.
The carrot cake does not have chocolate chips. It has pecans.
Good stuff. So yeah, just take the Giglio route and get pints of this.
Yeah.
Because that makes the most amount of sense. Go to roosters.com.
Or cake. Get the cake.
You could get the carrot cake. It's good stuff. So go to roosters.com to find out more, and you can order. We thank them for being a corporate champion. And with the Canes, I know they're about to go on the road, but when they're back, by all means, get the slave.
No, they have a slave and meet and greet.
That's right. That's what it was. They get the slave and meet and greet this Saturday, actually. Pretty sure it's this Saturday. And speaking of the slave and Sunday, you can get the slave and Sunday outside of the arena, by the way. In fact, somebody ordered the slave and Sunday ahead of me this past week at the Person Street location.
Yeah.
So, but yes, we'll talk a little bit more about the slaving thing coming up. But they do have a meet and greet. I reposted it on our socials. But I believe it's this Saturday. So big thanks to Two Roosters. Also, big thanks to our guys at Bloomin' Blinds, Chris and Nico and the crew. Give them a call, 919-980-9815. Bloomin', I-N, blinds.com is the website. They'll buy your blinds. You can put that towards some new blinds. Now, blinds. It goes beyond that, obviously. In fact, I was hanging out with our friends Ian and Erica on Saturday. They just got new windows. And true story, they got these blinds sitting on their kitchen table because they ordered the wrong ones. They're kind of trying to do it themselves. I'm like, see, you wasted time and money.
See?
And I said, hey, here's Chris's info. Contact Bloomin' Blinds.
Funny story about Chris.
Yeah.
So our corporate champions, I wanted to make sure that they got, now Mikey P, what did you do to me?
You're talking about the NASCAR hoodie?
Yeah. He moved it on me because I told him to move it.
Well, yeah, the secret stash, sometimes it's a secret to find the actual thing, but that's the
all right. Here it is. So Mikey P always has great colors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so for the rest of our corporate champions, I just kind of assumed they would either want black or I actually really like the white hoodie.
It does look good in white.
So I decided, though, when I was texting Chris, I'm like, so do you have too much pink or do I need to get you this?
Yeah.
He was like, oh, no, you can never have too much pink.
That's perfect.
I was like, all right, man.
That's perfect.
You're getting the pink racing hoodie because it's fantastic. I mean, really.
And you got the Bloomin' Blinds on the trunk.
It's on the trunk.
It's very, very good stuff.
Yes.
Very, very good stuff. So contact Chris and the crew.
P taking care of us and Chris taking care of us. Bloomin' Blinds, man. Yeah, don't be doing this stuff yourself.
Don't do it yourself.
Don't pull a Giglio.
Don't do it.
And try to install 26 window treatment.
It's the dumbest thing you could do.
Like an idiot.
So contact them today. You know who else is on that racing hoodie? Our friends at Mosquito Authority.
Our
Pest
guy,
Authority.
the OG. It was his birthday yesterday.
Hey, it's his birthday?
It was yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Big OG birthday.
How old is Hayes?
Nope.
We're not saying?
Nope.
He's 50, right?
Yeah, he's older than me.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
He looks better than you.
He does. You'd be happy too if you ran a very successful Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority and were taking care of people's homes.
As opposed to wanting to dissolve your own LLC over a stupid beer.
Over a 10-year-old beer. It was very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You and me, not the same.
We ain't the same.
We ain't the same. No, but no, big thanks to Hayes and the crew over there at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. You're not thinking about mosquitoes right now. Totally understand that. That's where Pest Authority comes in. Maybe you don't have cats to take care of business and you need Pest Authority to take care of that business. Contact them today at bugsbite.com. Again, that's bugsbite.com.
You know, if we still had Jonathan Rand and acapella, the news today would be a Hakuna Matata Puka Nakua day.
But think about the old days.
Yeah.
Those are the old days.
Those are the old days.
And
probably could get Rand here this week. He's in the real estate business now.
Yeah, I get that, but there's no way Rand's actually gonna be on time. And remember, and you're laughing because you know I'm right.
A Puka Nakua.
All right, let's go to a 919.
7:51 p.m. Saturday night. Giglio, you're always talking about war machines. Yay or nay? Indiana in college fucking football right now, they are a war machine. I wish Miami the best. My goodness.
Dude, the storylines are all there for Fernando Mendoza and Indiana to not only get over on Miami, who could have had him, but Manny Diaz said no, all that kind of stuff. But we're also looking at the first 16-0 college football team. And if they pull this off, Monday night, we're going to have to talk about this Indiana team in the same way that we talk about 2001 Miami. We're going to have to talk about this Indiana team in the same way that we talk about 2019 LSU with Joe Burrow and the crew, right? I mean,
no, we don't have to.
Dude, if they go 16-0 and beat the teams that they beat along the way, yes, we do.
We really don't. Here's why. Because Sean McDonough was starting this during the telecast on Friday, right?
Yes.
When they played.
I turned it off.
Yeah.
I turned the game off.
They were starting.
I saw what I needed to see.
They were starting with this now.
Okay.
Joe Burrow had 2 all-world receivers. God bless Indiana and what they're doing. They do not have 2 all-world receivers. I'm going to tell you what actually happened against Oregon. I'm going to tell you actually what happened. Surratt, JMU transfer. The kid who had the pick 6, JMU transfer. Okay? If you don't think Kurt Signetti behind the curtain was pushing the buttons on them talking about how the way that JMU was talked about, and they don't think you can play with them.
Yeah.
They think you're better. And
here we
are.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that's also a rematch game. I thought Kurt Signetti completely outclassed Oregon. Completely. But you're doing a disservice to those LSU and Miami teams in the talent that they had. This Miami team, believe it or not, has more talent than Indiana. Now, courtesy driver's point, you don't have to be the most talented team to be a war machine. Sometimes the sum of your parts is greater than, than sum is greater than the parts. What's the damn saying already?
It's also different in that we have to talk about Indiana differently because as the further they go along, the more you look at what they're made up of and who they're beating. They're older dudes.
I was going to say, who are they really beating, though? Alabama probably didn't deserve to be in the field. They kicked Alabama's ass. That's great. It's symbolic that the new money of Indiana beat Alabama in the Rose Bowl. That's awesome. But Alabama wasn't that good. Oregon is a team they already played and beat. Okay? So who are they beating?
But yeah,
now they play.
But we're always told that in the rematch,
they beat Ohio State,
and they straight up beat Ohio State.
They beat Ohio State on a missed kick, but they beat Ohio State.
And if this Miami team
This is why I want to talk about this Miami team a little bit.
Okay.
Miami had, again, I watched football. I watch football. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Just as I watched the Rams and said, this is the best team. I watched Miami early in the season and said, they have the best roster. Okay. So this will be a challenge for Indiana in a way that I'm interested in seeing. You can't put them even with a win with LSU and Miami and those all-time greats, but this is a real challenge for them. They're playing a team that has better talent than they do, much like they did when they played Ohio State. Okay.
And they took care of business there.
I will say this. If we look at the common opponent now, Miami beat Ohio State in a more convincing way and controlled the game in a more convincing way than Indiana did in the Big Ten championship game. They did. They straight up did.
Okay.
Indiana won on a missed kick, Joe.
Okay.
Miami didn't need a missed kick to beat Ohio State.
And Indiana's not looking at 16-0 without a fine Penn State replay in the end zone.
Sure. But I get it. What I'm saying to you is I think Miami has a better roster. This is the classic. I'm in a group chat with a bunch of people from Garner, and they're all convinced either coaching is the most important thing in the world or it's not the most important thing in the world. Well, you have right now the smartest coach in all of football and Curt Cignetti on one side of this going against Mario Cristobal, who I would still consider taking away his headset and ability to call any plays in this game.
Right. Well,
because
and look at Miami and when they won their national championship.
With Larry Coker, the last one.
Coker.
Right.
Yes.
That's part of the reason that you can't, put down that Miami team, which was just loaded from 1 through 50.
I mean, they even said it in the U Part 2, the 30 for 30 documentary, the U Part 2, in which they said, yeah, man, we basically coached ourselves.
Sure. I think, here's the thing. Indiana doesn't beat themselves. Like they are
they
so
don't.
well coached.
They don't.
The penalties, the execution. I thought Mendoza against Oregon, I thought that was actually his best game. I do. He was so precise. It was surgical the way that they performed in that game.
That he was the biggest winner from the college football playoff in that it went from, I don't know. Are we sure that Mendoza is a guy that you want to pick in the top of the draft? You got the Raiders and the Jets and all this other stuff. It's like, do you really want to take these guys? And then he has the game that he has on Friday night and you go, maybe.
And Moore wasn't good for Oregon in that game. So I just think this is a chance for us to answer some of those questions. You got the coachiest of coaching coaches right now going against the guy who, quote, doesn't believe in taking a knee.
Yeah.
These are words that came out of his mouth.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
In a game that absolutely cost him. So we will see. I said this before the Oregon game. And I had questions. I was like, now, Indiana, you just beat Alabama really easily. At some point, you're going to play a game that ain't easy. I suspect that's Monday night.
We'll see.
I suspect that's Monday night. We'll see what happens. But no, absolutely getting to this point, 15-0, the way that they have, all things considered, who they are, their history, all things considered with their roster.
All
like
that,
I said.
That's why we get jokes like this from a guy that I follow on Blue Sky, David Winter. He's a Florida guy. And he put out a tweet or a skeet that I thought was funny. So get this, Saban's going to retire. Yeah, he's getting up there in age. 2 years later, everyone will agree the best coach in the game will be a former assistant of his. Kirby Smart, obviously. No, not him, actually. Interesting. Which SEC school does the guy coach? Well, ... I added to that saying, well, ... Fact check. He's actually a Chuck Amato coaching tree guy. That's who's now running college football 2 years later.
Yeah, I wish under different circumstances, Chuck would have the ability to communicate and talk a little bit about why he hired Curt Cignetti to begin with.
Yeah.
Because Curt Cignetti's dad, this goes back to Pennsylvania. Curt Cignetti's dad was a coaching legend at the D2 level at IU, Indiana, Pennsylvania. And part of that kind of connection also goes back to Bill Cowher and some of the other parts of NC State lore and Pennsylvania and the connections there. So it's sad that we can't get his input on this. And really, Manny having the success that he did this year at Duke, and now Curt having the success that he has at Indiana. But I thought really your number one takeaway from the Indiana-Oregon game was going to be the proliferation of Cignetti shirts in the Marlboro logo, which is something that I had advanced to you when we started. One of our original merch ideas
was at this. And of course, my big thing was, well,
We don't want to be problematic.
We don't want to be
I understand
problematic,
that.
but now everybody's doing it. I'm like, well, damn, now I feel like an idiot. We probably should do that. We probably should do one.
No, it really does tie back to, if you go back and look at every NFL stadium and baseball stadium when we were growing up, had that iconic ad. And so Joe Montana, the catch, you can't watch the catch without seeing
the Reds.
You know?
Yep.
And it's just, it hits a certain piece of nostalgia for people
Also,
in my generation.
My takeaway from Signetti was the man is a man of a certain age, because after he just took Oregon to the woodshed, what's he thinking about?
Wanted a beer.
I just wanted a beer, man.
Yeah.
You know what? Good for you. All right, let's go back to the OG Sports phone. Let's go to a 919.
Hey guys, Scott in Wake Forest. Good win by the Pack. ACC road wins are, you never take them for granted. They played well offensively. They played well defensively, but we're in the appendix games here, so we're not going to get overly zealous about it, but it certainly is a step in the right direction. Go back.
Yeah, it's probably the most zen way of looking at the win over Florida State. I think we've hit the state portion of the OG Sports phone here. Let's go to a 919.
What's up, Joe Squares? Just your road tripper in the middle of a 30-hour trip that involves 19 hours of driving for a 2-hour ball game.
I'm going to pause it right there. That's clearly Steve, Steve's been an immense help to us in the tailgate spot with his RV and stuff like that.
Did he drive to Miami first? Like, how is it 19 hours to Tallahatchie?
It doesn't take 19 total out. What?
That's what I'm saying. Where did he go? I think I know. There might have been a Hard Rock.
Oh, maybe that's the case.
Because he gets comped at Hard Rock.
Okay.
And originally he was like, I think they think I'm the other Steve Young.
That might be. That might be. Okay, I'm sitting here calling out both Josh and Chung for showing up to
Boston College.
BC.
Chung Yeezy was at the Florida State game too.
You guys are sickos, man. Sickos.
Pretty stupid. What a great game today, boys. I mean, hitting on all cylinders. I mean, it was something to behold. I mean, in the stands, you could, Wade is talking to fans during the game, laughing and joking with them. Like, it was something to see. Maybe we could just play Florida State and Boston College every game.
You got what? Why don't we make the whole season out of Boston College and Florida State? That's a winning recipe. All right, one more to a 717.
This is Dana in Raleigh, and this take has been brewing in me for a long time. And I'm not someone who usually cares about what people wear, but why does my highly paid coach, who makes well over $1 million a year, look like a sweatsuit wearing bum when every other coach in the ACC is wearing a suit? Suits are designed to make average men look better. Wear a suit. Look like you have a job. I'm sorry. Go Pack.
I think I appreciate the call, Dana. It's a very valid point. I am the type of person that likes to see their basketball coaches in suits. It's great that Hubert Davis is back to wearing the sport coats. It's great.
Shire's not, though.
Shire
still
and Wade, I like Luke Lux. Did you see that blazer on Luke? Florida State?
No.
That thing
did they show him? Because I only watched when it was 30 to 3, and then I was like, oh, I've had enough of this.
That was a good looking blazer on that man, right?
Yeah.
That was a good looking plaid blazer on that guy, right? So I do kind of wish that we got out of, I say this as a guy who is hawking hoodies to everybody. And it's showing
Would
up.
it be appropriate for us to send Dana a hoodie?
And yeah, shit, Dana, text us. Yeah. And I'm sitting here wearing clogs, for heaven's sake.
That's better than those other things.
I'm wearing clogs, for heaven's sake.
Better than the Velcros.
Who am I to talk, right? But then again, I'm a podcaster. You know, I don't have to wear a suit. And I get that coaches don't have to wear suits either.
Yeah.
But I like when coaches wear suits. It makes it professional. I'm here for work. You ain't playing. You gonna what's John Shire gonna do? I know Shire in his head, and I've seen the clips of him knocking down threes.
Yeah,
I know in his head he can still get back out there, and you never know. It's good tearaway. He's wearing a jersey underneath it.
Stay ready,
right? Wade, same thing, man. Like wear a suit. The only person who could get away with it was Mike Bray.
Hey,
because Mike Bray was just out there looking like he just got done mowing the lawn.
Where would you want? I'm not a sideline decor kind of guy.
Okay. I kind of agree with Dana. But yeah, Dana, if you actually want a hoodie from us, let us know.
Yeah.
Just shoot us a text. You got the sports phone. You know what the deal is. And I know which number it is. So don't act like, hey, this is Dana. No. I know which number it is. So don't even. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We'll see y'all tomorrow.